And we have to figure out which event is most likely to occur. So we're talking about probability today. What event is most likely to occur? So we have 9 tiles across the top. How many tiles do we have a number 6 on? How many tiles have a number 6? 1. Okay, that's the answer to part A. Oops, sorry, let me unfreeze my screen. How many tiles have a number that is greater than 5? So greater than 5, that would be 1. Because do you all agree that 6, 7, 8, and 9 are bigger than 5? All right, so there's 4. How many have a number less than 3? Thank you so much. It says pick something up. How many tiles have a number that is less than 3? So this is the number 3. How many have numbers less than 3? 1 and 2. Would you agree that there's only 2? Okay. How many are odd? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. They're all odd, so that would be 5. How many of those odd numbers that I circle are less than 5? 2. Let's put 2 there. And how many of these numbers can be divided by 3? Yeah, so the numbers that can be divided by 3 are 3, 6, and 9. So now that we have looked at all of our choices, which one, if we were to place a bet, which one is most likely to occur? A, B, C, D, E, or F? Which one had the highest number? I already sent him. It's okay. He's already there though, but okay. I'm scared. All right, so which one is most likely to occur? A, B, C, D, E, or F? D, right? Because D, there are 5 different options that would work to satisfy that condition. And that's what probability is. It's kind of like, what are the chances that this event could happen? All right, so in that same packet, now we're going to go to the notes portion. Go to page 7 in that green packet. So go ahead and flip to page 7. It says a coin is flipped. Probability, what's the probability that it lands on heads? It's 50-50, right? But for probability, it has to be written as a fraction or a decimal. So we can't say 50-50. Probability has to be between. So probability is always between 0 and 1. Okay, so the probability that you flip a coin and it lands on heads would be 1 out of 2, or you could say 0.5 or 0.50. That's the probability. If you have a spinner, so a spinner, let me go ahead and try to draw a spinner. It has 5 equal sections. Okay. And it says that the spinner, they're labeled with letters. A is on 1, B, here, let me back up because that's kind of thick. B, C, B, and A. Okay. What's the probability that the spinner will land on a B? You can say 4 out of 10 or 2 out of 5, right? Because there's 5 sections, right? And how many have the letter B on it? 2. So 2 out of 5. So what is probability? Probability is your favorable outcomes over the total possible outcomes. That's just the definition of probability. It's what we want over how many options there are. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of different notations in this unit for probability. Probability is like, I'm really glad we're ending on probability because it's the easiest of all of our lessons for the year. It's a good thing to end out on before we wrap up the semester. But let's start talking about what these different notations mean. So first of all, when we put this capital P, that capital P means probability. That's what that capital P. So everything we write is going to start with a capital P for probability. What's inside of the parentheses, that is my favorable outcome. And that A could mean anything. It could be probability that you are wearing green, probability that you're wearing Crocs, probability that you're a sophomore, probability that you're 17. Okay, that A could represent anything. To find it, we're going to figure out how many people have whatever that event A is. Remember, event A could be anything over the total. So that's how we're going to find that. So now we got some notations to add in. This symbol right here, it looks like a upside down N, but that means and. So if I wanted to know the probability that a student in this class was a boy and 17, that means that and means I'm looking for two conditions now. Okay, so this stands for probability of event A and, let me write it out because people may not know what that symbol means, and B over the total. Okay, so A and B over the total. That's what that represents. When we flip it the other direction, this means or. Oh, okay. Oh, you got to go on the field trip. Oh. Okay, you could just put the test over on my desk. Okay, so that means event A or B over the total. So that's a little different. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. And then this last one, whenever you see this little squiggle, that means not A or not. So the probability that it does not happen. So not A happening, not event A. I'll never get to go on a field trip. I need to switch my teaching license to something different. Okay, so that's our notations. Let me go ahead and zoom out for people to see. Any questions so far about the meaning of each one? Okay, so now we have 14 jelly beans in a container. 4 are purple, 7 are red, and 3 are orange. How many different outcomes do we have? How many different events? How many different colors? There's just 3, right? There are 3. How many outcomes there are? There are just 3. And the different outcomes we have is either it's going to be purple, red, or orange. That's it. So now let's find the probability of each color. So let's practice with our notation. When you tell me the probability, you're going to put a capital P on the outside and the event. So I want to know the probability of purple. See how I wrote that? Capital P, and then purple is on the inside of the parentheses because that's my first event. How many jelly beans in total are in the jar? 14. And how many of those 14 are purple? 4. All right, I want you to try to, and I don't want you to say it out loud, I want you to find these next 2 probabilities. So probability of red is 14. So how many are red? 7 over 14. Who had that for the next one? Good. And orange would be how many over 14? 3. All right, go ahead and try to finish out the last part, and we're going to end there. And then I have an announcement about homework. And I know your copy may be kind of bad, but what this is asking you for is the missing numbers. So the probability that the spinner landed on a 5 will be 2 over what? The probability that you roll a die and it lands on the number 8 is what? The probability that you reach in this jar of marbles and pull out a letter A is 5 over what? The probability that you flip a penny and it lands on tails is what over 2? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to try to guess those 4 numbers that we're looking for. Okay, how many sections are on this spinner all together? Yep, I heard somebody say 5. There's 5 sections, and the probability that it landed on an A, there's only 2 that it landed on a 5, sorry. The probability that it landed on a 5 would be 2 over what? 5. Who had that? What's the probability that you roll a die and it lands on an 8? 0. That's impossible. We call that an impossible event because a die only goes up to the number 6. The probability that you reached in this jar and you pulled out a letter A, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letter A's. But how many marbles are in the jar altogether? 7. Who has 7? And then what's the probability that you flip a penny and it lands on tails? 1 over 2. Okay. There are no more paper homework except for the final review. So all of the homework for this unit, if you go to your Canvas page, all of the homework are Canvas assignments. So it's automatically going to be linked to Canvas. So I don't have to stamp a pink sheet. You ain't got to show me no homework. If you do the homework, Canvas is going to tell me, and it's going to tell Skyward, and your grade goes in automatically. Now, every assignment, now we haven't really finished working through the material for this first homework, so I'm not sure how many of those questions you can get finished today, but I'm pretty sure it does save your progress. So if you want to start looking through it, you can. Now, this homework, these homework, they all close on May 15th. After May 15th, you just lost 200 points. It's over, okay? Our next test, our last test, is Tuesday, May 14th. That will be on paper. You get 5 attempts for each one of these assignments. The highest score is the one that will be recorded in the grade book. All right? If you have any questions, let me know. And that is it.